just a high level overview, which version has a different features they have introduced. Right, mostly from the Java 5, we will see actually. Right, the previous version, they don't have much things. From Java 5 onwards only, we will have a different features. But these are all released versions. That means in between there is a Java 6 is there, Java 9 is there, Java 10, but those are all not that much prior. Why? Because these are all released, that means JDK, open JDK versions. That means freely available. So everyone prefer to use these only, 8, JDK 8, 11, 17, 21. Right, I think 25 is going to release, not at released, I think. Right, we'll start with, I will give you a high level or not in depth, just. Okay, in the Java 5, right, this is the, right, 2004. Right, Java 5 was released in 2004. Right, at that time, these features are right, important feature they have released. One is the generics concept. Right, we have learned about generics. Why we required a generics in the right in collections. Right, basically generics mostly we will use in the collections. Right, to avoid through two problems. Right, we have learned two problems we will get without a generics. What are all those? One is class cast exception, and one more is explicit typecasting. We have to do the explicit typecasting. Right, one is the right. Just quickly we'll see. Right, suppose if I don't use any generics here, right, just a simple list will allow to store anything. Right, we can store anything. Right, right. I can store it as an integer. Right, I can store it as a some right a boolean. I can add it as an object also. Right, anything I can add it will allow. But now what is the problem with the, we have learned two problems. One is the class cast exception, one is the explicit typecasting. Suppose I am getting the first element, I am thinking it is a string, right? Maybe integer, right? I got stored in the, right? Maybe second, we'll get the second. Second one is the integer, right? Actually, I thought it is a string. I have stored it in a string. I am storing it in a string. But it one thing we have to, it is the object type because we are allowing anything. So we have to explicitly tell it is a string. We have to typecast it. One problem is we have to typecast it. And one more problem is while running the program, we will get it. Right, what is getting? Class cast exception. Because we are trying to, right, we are trying to typecast. It is actually integer, but we are typecasting to string. Integer cannot cast to. To avoid these two problems, generics concept was introduced in the Java 5 so that whatever type we will use, right, it will allow only that type, right? No other type it will not allow. Suppose if you are storing, right, integer, it will not allow. Null it will allow anyway. Right, no need to typecast explicitly. No need to typecast it also. Right, if you are retrieving now the elements, right, we can make sure that it is a type safe. Right, that means we will not get any class cast exception or no need to explicit typecast. That is the advantage of generics. And one more is enhanced for loop. Right, enhanced for loop. Right, this is also introduced in Java 5. Right, introduced in JDK. Right, what is enhanced for loop? Right, without right index. Previously, we have to use the index concept. Right. Now we no need to use the index concept. Right. Here we don't require any index concept. Right. Directly here, whatever type. Suppose I am iterating this list. I am trying to print it. What type of list? List of string. So just we need to keep type. If it is an integer, integer, float, float, double, double, employee, employee, student, student, whatever type it is, we have to keep. Right, then name of the variable, colon, and then the what is the object, what is the list object name. Right, for each loop we can use for arrays and then collections. Right, arrays and collections for both we can use for each loop. Alright, here we can avoid the index. Right, that is one more feature enhanced for loop. One more is auto boxing, unboxing. Right, auto boxing, unboxing. Actually, right, list will not allow to store int, right, primitive values, either int or char or boolean. Right. At that time, what they have done, wrapper classes concept. Right, they have introduced a concept called wrapper classes. Wrapper classes will allow to store. Right, wrapper classes will only list collections will allow to store only object types. Right, not the primitive types. So here we are storing, maybe you can think this is a right. We are storing right primitive only, right? You may cross question, right? It is allowing only right primitive values, right? How, but how we can say it is a not allowing, right? Because internally what they will do, right? Internally it will store as a internally it will store as a convert this primitive to wrapper class, primitive to wrapper class automatically, right? That is called a auto box, right? Converting primitive data type to wrapper classes or primitive to object is called a auto boxing. Right, unboxing. Suppose unboxing means what? Suppose list dot get off 0. Right. Store it in a I can store it in a right, integer directly in the primitive. Right, unboxing. Converting wrapper class to primitive is called a unboxing. We can also store a wrapper class. There is no issue. Right, there is no issue. Right, we can also store it as a int also. But if you store as a integer, what is the disadvantage? There is a one disadvantage. Suppose if it is a null, suppose if it is a null, I am getting get of 1. Right here. See, no, then on the right, it is a class. On the class, we can call methods. Integer is a wrapper class. On that, we can call multiple things. Right, we can suppose I want to convert to string. Right, because it is a null, right, we are getting as a null. If you call any method on the null reference, what will happen? Null point. So there is a chance of getting null pointer if you call anything on this. So if you don't want to call any methods, just we can directly store it in a int only. Right, but we have to make sure if you are storing any object and the next you are performing any right methods, calling any methods, we must make sure null check. We need to write null check. Right, we have to do the null check to avoid the null pointer. Right, auto boxing, unboxing, converting right primitive to right wrapper class auto boxing and then wrapper class that means object to primitive unbox. And then enum concept also. Enum concept also introduced in Java 5. Right. Without enums, if you want to store values, how before Java 5, if you want to store right multiple values, how we are storing. If you want to store, right, I have to suppose you want to store right this one like Monday is 1, Tuesday is 2, Wednesday is 3. Like that, if you want to store, I have to create a multiple right multiple things. Right, something Monday equal to 1, Tuesday equal to right like this we have to store it before Java file. But after came enum, right, what we can do? We can create a enum is used to maintain the constant values of same type. Right, mostly right like weekdays, months, right, cities. Right, if you want to store a group of values, group of constants, right, then we will go for a enum of same type. Right, enum concept also introduced in Java. Right, that is one more thing. And then Varargs. And then Varargs. What is Varargs? Right, suppose if you want to write, okay, let me, this is a method, right? We have to create outside. Mm, right, this is a method. Now, here what we can do, we can call this method, again, we'll make it as a stat. Okay, print names. Right, I can call this method by using with one parameter or two parameters or three parameters or four parameters, any number of parameters. That is the varargs. Varargs means three dots. We have to give the three dots. Right, we can give for right any type. Alright, we can give any type. Like a this is like a array, but not actual array. But what is the advantage of it? We can pass single parameter, multiple parameters. Right, any number of parameters it will allow. It will allow any number of parameters. Varargs. And then some annotations also they have introduced. Right. While overriding, right, while overriding parent class method in the child class, right, we have to tell, right, this is the, we are overriding the parent class method in the child class. So just to make understandable, more understandable, see, it will generate the override. That means this method is not belongs to this one. Actually, this method is not belongs to this bank. Actually, it is a bank class abstract method. Right? Bank is abstract method. It is here we are overriding. That means we can understand. Okay, we are overriding the parent class method. Right, override and then deprecated. Right, deprecated. That means if you write it deprecated means in the future releases it will delete it. They are giving warning. Suppose you are trying to deprecated method. If you are trying to use, they are saying warnings. That is like a warning, deprecated. In future version, if you upgrade your application to next version, it may not be available. Right, that is a deprecated. Suppress warnings. Right, sometimes we will get some warnings. Right, suppose here if we create a generic list, right, if we create a generic list, what is happening here? Some warnings, right? See, yellow color. So sometimes we can add suppress warnings. That means it will not show those warnings, or class level we can add, or method level also we can add suppress warnings. Right, suppress warnings means just to avoid, right, this yellow color marks. That is one more annotation. Okay, these annotations also introduced. And static import, right? What is static import? Actually, if you want to call, right, math.max, math is a class. It will provide a multiple things, right? If you want to call math like this multiple times, we have to call because those are all static methods. That's why we are calling, right? We have learned while using any predefined, right, you have to remember, you should get all those topics. Why, how it is allowing without object, you should know. Okay, because it may be static, because it is a static. That's why we are calling directly on the class. So I want to avoid this. I don't want to call this math dot like this. Right, just directly I want to call like this. Right. Then we can go for this static import. Right. Import only, but we need to add the static because those are all static methods, right? Now it will not applicable for all, only for static methods. The class which contain static methods only we can use static. Right, like this. Then we no need to use that math dot. Right, we no need to use right max min like this. Directly we can call without using class name. That is the advantage of the static input. And one more, they have introduced like threading. These are all useful. These classes executor service, callable, future, read countdown latch. These are all introduced as part of concurrency utilities. These use will in the threading. So far, what we have learned thread, we have to create by thread class like that, right? But it is an advanced concept. Advanced concept they have introduced to deal with the threads. Right, these are all. But I am not going in depth, just a high level what executor service callable feature. These are all related to threading classes, multi-threading. Okay, these are the some of the features. Mostly we will use generics. We are every time we will use generics, right? We will use enhanced for loop, auto boxing. We will use Enums. We will use. Whereas if we know we can, if we have any scenario like that, we can use it, right? Static imports also very rare. We will use annotations. Sometimes we'll use annotations. Right, if we require a multi-threading program, we will use this concurrency API. Otherwise, very less only. And one more major version, Java 8. One more major release, Java 8 in 2014. They have released in 2014. It also has a very important features they have introduced. Very important one, Lambda expressions. Right, we already learned Lambda functional interfaces. Right, functional interfaces, Lambda expressions, streams. Right, these are all we have already learned right, in detail. Functional interfaces means it should contain only one method that is called a functional interface. It will allow default static methods also, but it will allow only one abstract method that is called functional interface. Right, Lambda expressions what right it will enable the data process right, to process the data. Right, it will simplify the actually code. It will simplify the code. Right, instead of writing multiple lines, it will simplify the code. Right, streams means we have learned already. Right, to process the streams, why we will use to process the data. To process the data, either arrays or list. Right, to process the data, we will use the streams. Right, and then they have introduced a new date and time APIs. Right, these classes they have introduced. If you want to create the date object, right, current date, it will return what it will return current date. Just will see. Right, what it will print the today's date. Right, date if you print it, today's date, whatever date it is. If you want, this is plus days minus. If you want to add, right, minus plus, right, we can do, right, all methods. Previously, right, we have to do different way. That is simple, little bit complex thing. But these classes, local date, right, very there are a lot of methods. And if you want to add days minus subtract, right, we can do. There are a lot of methods are there. Go through it. Mostly, right, it will provide a lot of methods. It simplifies actually date related things at local date. And then optional class. One more important is optional class. Right, optional class is like a to avoid the null pointer exception actually. To avoid the null pointer exception. Usually, if you call anything on the null right method, suppose null reference we have seen just now. And the null reference, if we call anything, we will get a right null pointer. But suppose on the optional class, what it will do? Let's see. Okay, here we think we have to use in a different way. Look, that we'll see later. I think right. Optional class mostly right. It is used for to avoid helps to avoid null pointer accession. Right. How to avoid? I will explain in detail class. I will explain it currently. Right. We have to create something. Right. Just we will see ID. ID is an right. But okay. Of nullable. I think we have to call. Okay. Then we will see. That's it. Now it did not throw null. Right, there are multiple methods. Each method will have different feature. Off nullable means what it will do? It will suppress the null. Returns a optional descriptive given value if non-null. Otherwise, returns an empty optional object. And basically, what is the purpose of this optional is right just to avoid null pointer exception. It is like a container. It will hold the data. Whatever data we will give, it will hold the data. Just if we call any methods on that right optional, it will return the optional. Right. If you call any methods, we can call different types of methods here. Right. So that to retrieve the data, if it is a null, it will avoid the null pointer. Throwing null pointer exception, it will avoid basically off nullable. Right. Off method will throw it. Off nullable, it will not throw it. Right. That will I will create a separate class on each topic. Here default methods in interface. One more important we have seen in interface, we can have a static default. Read those things. Here in Java 8, it allows default methods. If you use Java 7, Java 5, it will not allow. It will allow only abstract methods. But from Java 8, it will allow default methods in interface. Right, default methods. And then one more feature. Sorry. One more feature, method reference. What is method reference? Right, shortcut for calling a method. Right, actually system.out.println. We will call how we will call actually. If you want to print anything, system.out.println. But here by using the colon method reference, this is called a method reference. Right, we can call either static, we can call static on the static objects or static objects or instance or constructor references. Let's suppose we'll see this one. Right, method reference. That means a list we have just to print it method reference like just for each method we want to print it. That usually how you will print it by using for each method if you want to print it. Right, yes, something we can give something as system.out.println. Yes, right, like this we have to print it. Right, by using lambda expression. Right, or this is the one more way method reference. Right, we have to call see method reference means what we have to first create the object first. If we have an object, then only we can call that method. Here just colon method. We have to give the what is the method we need to call from out object. Right, out object. Out is an static object. Right, if you go to system, system is a final class. See, this is a final class. It has a out. It is out is a print stream object. Out is a static print stream object. Out. That's why we are calling directly system dot out. Out is an object. On that out, we have to tell which method we want to call. Right. Println by using colon call. That is called a method reference. Right. That is called a method reference. Right. We can use on static or instance constructor references also. Right. These are the different features right implemented in the Java 8 Lambda expression functional streams. Majorly, right, Lambda functional stream. These are the major things and the default methods in the interfaces. Method references. And then there is a, this is the JVM thing, right, a Mushroom JS engine. They have introduced this one also, but right, I'm not going anything. Just this is a JavaScript engine. Right, one more stable version, Java 11. After Java 8, major things are introduced in Java 11. Right, Java 11 in 2018. Right. In Java 8, Java 11, right? Java 11, what are the features? Right, there are a where keyword. They have introduced like integer, like float, double, where keyword. What is the where keyword? That by using where keyword, see, I can store anything. Suppose something ID. I can store any type of ID equal to ID already there. Okay. But I can store any type of value. I can store any type of value by using where. Right, where is used to store any type of value. Introduced where keyword in Lambda parameters for better readability and annotation support. Right, we can store in a where, right, any type of variable. That is the where keyword advantage. Right, then this is the HTTP client, right, to execute the API calls. Right, to execute the API calls, they have introduced a HTTP client. The HTTP client one more, and then string enhancements. Right, in string class, they have introduced a is blank method. Is blank. Is blank method means what we have. I think I already explained. Right, suppose a string is equal to something str is blank, or first thing is empty. Okay, first thing we have to see is empty. Is empty means what? It will return true only if and if length is 0. That means if I create a string like this, is empty method, what it will do? And what it will print? See, it is saying it is not empty. It is saying not empty. It is returning false. If I give only just double quotes like this, then only it will say it is empty. Otherwise, it will not say. Right. In this case also, I want to say empty only. Spaces also I want to consider empty. Then we will go with blank. That means it will consider both. Either it is a just empty or spaces. In both the cases, it will return the true. Right. If you want to check in your code empty or not, it's always suggested to use blank is blank one. And then lines. Right. And then lines. Lines means what it will. If you have a multiple lines in a string, right, multiple lines in a string, it will return stream of lines. Or simply, if you have like a string is like right like this. hello slash n old slash n means after slash n this is one more line, right? These are all. Hello is one line, old is in one line, Java is in one line. Right, lines will return the stream object, and that stream object, right, we can print it. Where it is print? str1, we have to call on str1, right? Right, it will print all the lines in a line by line. It will split into lines, right? It will split into lines, and then we can print on it. If you want to return string array, you can do some other actions on this. You can return it. And then strip leading, strip trailing. Right, what is this strip? Right, suppose we have a string test. Okay, something like a hello with the space. If I want to remove space, means what we have to do? Str3 dot trim, right? Trim method. Trim method, what it will do? It will remove the spaces before and after. Before and after. Strip also, see, strip also will do same thing. It will remove the spaces before and after. But there is an additional character. We can give the some additional characters also. Space in the ASCII code also we can give spaces. Right, space will have some ASCII code. Right, those things also it will remove. Strip. Right, those things also it will remove. But a trim will not remove. Trim will remove only white space, but it will remove strip those ASCII values also. Right, and also it has a additional methods like if you want to trim only before, right, starting of the string, right, then strip leading. No, sorry. Okay, strip leading, right, we have. If you want to remove last end position spaces, strip trailing. In middle we cannot delete it. Trim also will not remove, this also will not remove, only starting and end spaces, right? It has a strip leading, strip end trailing. Right, that is also Unicode characters. Right, actually that is called Unicode aware. That means space we can declare in a Unicodes also. That each character will have some ASCII code. And that ASCII codes also it will remove. And one more thing, repeat. Repeat. Right, what is repeat? I think we have seen this also. Right, suppose hello dot repeat. That means what it will do? It will print hello in 3 times. Where it will repeat. If you want to store it, we can store it in a string. It will return the string. Right. Repeat means whatever the count we have given, those many times it will repeat that word. Right. Repeat. On the string also we can call str4. Suppose I want to repeat method is on. We can call on the string. Right. It will repeat hello word in 3 times. Right. Like that. Right, see, you have called strip leading, strip trailing. Still, it is printing. See, because why? Why it is printing? What is the concept of whenever string modifies? What it do? It is immutable, right? If you do any changes, it will not reflect in the original. It will create. If you want changes, right? You want to change a store, you have to store it again. Suppose I want to str4 again, then only it will update. New object it will create and then it will store it. Right? Just if you call like this, it will not do anything. It will not change the original, right? Because the string is immutable. We cannot, it will not modify. We have to reassign it, then only it will modify. Right. And then what is the one more feature? To write these things to read the files, to generate a file and to read the file. Files dot read string, file dot write string. Right. We can give the files dot read string, file name. It will read into the string, entire content into the string. Right. Write string. If we have a right, we can also write the data to the file by using right a simplest forms. And then Java 11, right? What else we have? Launch a single file Java programs without compilation. You can run .java files directly without compiling the first. Right? If you know from the command prompt actually. Right? From the command prompt, if we have any class, suppose. First we have to do what we have to do? Compile it. First Java C something class. Okay, class is there. We have to compile and then okay. That's when there is an issue. First we have to compile and then we have to run it. How to run Java child? Right, we have to run like this. Right, but Java 11 onwards, directly we can run the program. Directly, we no need to compile it. Right, it will without compilation we can run it. Java hello world.java. From the Java 11 onwards we can. This is a security. They have TLS security. They have introduced a 1.3 security related things. That's fine. Right, then Java 17, coming to Java 17, one more major version, 2021, they have released it. Here they have introduced different types of things, right, important things. What are see sealed classes? What is sealed classes? Right, suppose we can extend one class by using extends keyword. Right, we can, okay, just I will give high level. If we have two classes, by using extends keyword, I can extend any other class. Right, I can extend any other class. If you want to restrict it, we can create a final class. Right, if you want to restrict it, final class. That means no one will extend it, final class, right? Right, extends means it is extending any type of class, right? It will extend any type of class. Final means it is restricting all, but I want in middle, right? I want in middle. That means it should extend, but it should permit few classes only. Right. It should permit the extend, but it should allow only few classes. I don't want to allow every class should extend. I want to allow few classes only. I want to extend. Then we will go for a sealed class. Right. Sealed class, how to create it? Public sealed class shape. Right. We have to declare as a shield. Then permits which classes should extend this class. Right. Shape is a parent class. Which which child classes I want to allow to extend this shape, circle and square. Permits, it will permit, shape will permit only circle and square to extend it. Right. Child classes also should have a, here we can have a either final, just quickly, right. Okay. Sealed class, right. It can permit only circle and square. Right, sealed classes, child classes also see child class. This is the child class. Child class should be, if you remove this, it will not allow. It should be either final or sealed or non-sealed. I have to provide these three keywords before the class. Then only it will allow to extend this shape parent class. either final or shield, non-shield. Right. These are shield classes. That means you want to restrict which child classes I want to implement, then we will go with this syntax. We will go with this syntax. Right. That is about the shield classes. And then pattern matching for instance of pattern matching. What is pattern matching? Okay. Okay. Suppose we'll take this. Okay. I will create a object. Something name equal to. Yes. Okay. Now I'm checking is object is a instance of. What is the instance of? Instance of, to verify the what instance of will provide what type of class it is. Right. What type of class it is. We can by using this right instance of, we can see instance of either it is a string class, it is related to string, or it is related to integer, float, double, employee, or student. What type of object it is. By using instance of, I am checking string class. If it is a string class, what we have to do, we have to convert explicitly to string class and print it. And print it. Right? We have to do. Suppose else if, right, we can do else if it is a integer, right? Else we can write multiple. If we have a anything, right? The name one is instance of integer or anything character, boolean, employee, right? Like this we can write. But after Java 17, right? After Java 17, we no need to typecast it. Right. We no need to typecast it. Right. What we can do here, just simply say yes. Simply say yes. See, it is allowing. Right. It is allowing integer. Suppose I. Right. We no need to explicitly typecast it. Right. That is a pattern matching for instance of. That means directly we can give here variable name. It will automatically. It will know. We no need to explicitly typecast. And we have a record classes. One more important feature in the Java 17, record class. What are record classes? Right, you know some POJO classes. Suppose you want to store, you know idea about the framework, correct? If you want to read file data from the JSON and you want to store into a class. Suppose you are reading student data, I want to store it in a student. Right, I want to store it in a student. Then what we will do usually, right, usually we'll create a, let's suppose we'll create a quickly student class. Okay. Right. First student will have student, right? Private something, okay, name, and then age. We can have a now getter and setters, right? We can have a getter and setter methods, and then toString method. ToString means to print the object content, right? To print the object content. ToString, and then hash code and equals. Hash code and equals what? To avoid the duplicates, right? We have learned this also. All these topics we have learned. Right. If you want any project class like this, we will create, right, usually like this. But after came to record classes, right, after came into record classes, just a simple thing, right, we no need to create all these things, right, simple public type only one, okay, in class, okay. Right, it's simple record, what we have, student, right, just we have given already, right, that's duplicate, student one will correct, okay, student one, name and age. That's it. It will generate automatically. This record will generate, right? What it will do record? It will automatically generate getter methods, hash code and equals to string method. Right? These are all will generate automatically. That is the advantage of record. Right? It will generate automatically constructor. It will generate a constructor automatically, equals method, hash code method, to string method. Right? These are all right immutable class. Sometimes in interview they will ask how you will create immutable class. Right? We have to create a private variables. We have to create the constructor. We have to assign. Right? There is a some points are there, but a record is a by default it is a immutable class. Record by default it is a immutable class. But this is a still syntax is different. Right here, right in after class name itself, we are giving the what type of values it will allow. Right. Basically, it is like a two Pojo classes. To create the Pojo classes, we will use the record classes. Right. We no need to create all these things. It will generate internally. JV will create automatically. That is the advantage of record. And then switch expressions also. They have right more implementation they have provided in switch also. Right. We can use the lambda expressions in the switch. Right. More powerful, concise switch statements can return values using arrow expressions. Switch usually will not return anything, right? But in Java 17, right, by using the lambda expressions, suppose case Monday, you want to return something, right? Arrow, lambda expression, what you want to return, right? We can store it also. What type we are returning string type. So there is no break statement. We don't require any break, right? This is also switch and then text blocks, right? Text blocks. See, suppose if you want to create, if you don't know about this multi-line right text blocks, suppose if you want to create one string with JSON, suppose I don't know about this, let's see what it will say. It will say errors, literal is not properly closed, right? We have to give backslashes for all these things, right? Then only it will allow, otherwise it will not allow, right? But in Java 17 we can avoid, right, those things. To keep the backslashes, all those things, just we will give this colon 3 times, not colon. This is something, right? What we have, right? This one 3 times we have to give that, right? Quotes, right? Quote 3 times we have to give. We no need to avoid. We can avoid backslashes, right? This is a very useful thing, very useful feature. 3 times quotes if you give, right? Inside anything we can write it, right? We no need to write, right? Java directly will not allow these special character double quotes directly. We have to give the backslash. But by using these the quotes, we can directly write down anything. That is one more important feature. Right, those are all Java 17. Now coming to last one, uh, Java 21. They have a record pair. Records already we have seen, but they have introduced a more feature on it. Right, it will also works with instance of and switch also. There it is now supporting in the records. Record will support instance of switch cases also. Right, I am not going in that style of right pattern matching for switch. Right, just now we have seen, but they have enhanced more. Right, enhances switch to support type pattern and God conditions. Right, they have right like this. Mm, right, we can do the multiple actions. Integer I. We can add a conditions also. Right, previously Java 17 just return it, but here we can do conditions also. Right, that is that they have more implement more advanced one. And virtual threads, right? So far we know threads. right? They have introduced a concept of virtual threads. Right? This is like a threading concepts. That is. Then string templates. One more important in strings. Right? It is called inline string interpolation. String interpolation. What it is? What is the advantage of it? Right. Just. Mm, okay. Main method. What it is saying? Java. Okay. Java str dot format. Str not recognizing. Oh, why? Okay. I think these are all preview features. All right. One more thing. These are all preview features. Preview features means we have to do some additional setup to use these things. Right. Currently, I don't have that setup. I will right to do it in the next step. We'll see that. Right. I will do separate video on that. These are all preview features. That means here, what is the advantage of it? Right. str dot. You want to append this variable, right? What we will do? Either we can use concat, right? If you want to append, but here directly syntax is slash curly brackets. What is the variable name? Name curly bracket. Right. We have to use the dollar. Sorry, slash curly brackets curly. Right. That means what it will inject this name here Java. It will inject the Java. Simple thing. Right. One more example. Suppose if you take hello name. If you want to inject the name here and then your age, I want to inject this one. Right. Instead of concat method to use that, right, we can use this str dot. These are all preview features we cannot directly see. Right. I will make it as a separate video how to run these programs. And then they have introduced a sequenced collections. Sequenced collections. Sequenced collections means right we know introduces a interface like sequenced collection, sequenced set, sequenced map. That means gives a consistent action to first and last element. Right. Basically, set will not allow to retrieve the data. Right. Set don't have get method. Right. We have to convert it to list and then we have to retrieve the data. But here by using the sequenced set, what is the advantage of it? It has a methods like get first and get last. Right. We'll see this. This work. Yeah, I think it's working. Right. It has a get first, get last methods. That means we can get the first element, last element. Right. First element and then last element. Sequenced set. Right. Sequenced set, if you open, it will extend the set only. Right. It will extend the set is set interface only. Sequenced set is an interface. It have a right. It also has a, I think reversed method also. The reversed method. And then add first. See, add methods also there. Add first, add last. Right. We can do all those things. Add first, add last. I think we have seen add first and add last, but get first and get last. These are all introduced in sequenced collection. Right, that is the advantage of it set. Then unnamed classes and instance. This is also a preview feature. Right, what is the advantage? So far, how we are creating class? We are creating a class like a class name, right? Like this curly brackets, and then main method like this publish. Then only it will run. Now, without this, I can simply in Java 21, right? This is also a preview feature. I think in the next version, they will release it 25, I think. Right? We don't require anything. Just we can keep void main, right? Assistant dot out dot like this. It will run it. Our program will run it. Right? This is also a preview feature. I think we have to enable. I will tell you later, but I don't have currently. Right, this is also preview. I think 25 Java 25 they will release these things. These are all currently they have given preview features. Simple. Right, this is also, that means in the coming version, we no need to write a public class and entire syntax of main method we don't require. Just a simple like this we can do. And scoped values. They have introduced one more feature, scoped values, that is also related to threading concept. Right. If you have idea on thread local, right? If you have in the Selenium, right? If you know automation, thread local we will use to create the driver, right? Similarly, virtual threads by using scoped values also we can create. This is the new one. And then what else? Foreign function and memory API. This is related to memory related enhancements. Right. Previously we have a JNI to read the to analyze the memory. How while running the code, right? In real time, what will happen? Your application is running. You want to analyze how much memory it is taking. Right, how the our CPU memory, these things are working. Right. Previously we have a JNI. They are introducing latest things in this memory foreign function and memory APIs. That is fine. See, deprecation of finalization. Right. Now there is no method. They have deprecated finalize method in 21. I think in coming future they will remove it, finalize method. And a developer should use auto closable cleaner APIs. Right. We have to use auto if we want to do right resource statements automatically closing. We can use try catch, right? Try with resource statement. Auto closable means automatically will close the resources. That is try with resources, or we can also use auto closable interface. Right, these are the different features. Right, just high level overview I have given. Right, major versions Java 8, 11, 17, 20. Sometimes we will get what are the, suppose they will ask interview also, suddenly they will ask if you are saying Java 17, what are the, before going interview, just right, if you are using Java 17 means verify what is the Java 17 features. If you are using 21, what are the Java 21 features? Right, just not required entire thing, just high level you can remember. That's it. We can say I have an idea, but I did not use it. If you don't use it, just you say I have idea, but I did not use it. Right, these are the different features in the Java versions. Right, I think yeah, mostly we have covered